John Dayal is battling the growing violence against minority faith groups in India. He is editor of the Delhi Midday, a secular paper owned by Hindus. But he is a Roman Catholic and also head of the United Christian Forum for Human Rights. As a Christian, he is part of only 2.5% of India's overwhelming Hindu population.
The human rights of Christians are under great attack in India by a section of the Hindutva Parivar, an extreme right-wing nationalist fringe of what is currently the ruling party in India.
An example of one of those attacks is the brutal deaths by burning last January of Australian missionary Graham Staines and his two young sons, Timothy and Philip. An initial government investigation pointed in the direction of Hindu fundamentalists with ties to India's ruling party.
There is some evidence of association, but is this association a formal association or a structured association is not clear as yet.
The government has called the attack a slur on humanity, but what worries John Dayal and human rights watchers here is that the government is refusing to release its final report on the Staines murders. He also points out that Christians aren't the only targets of Hindu extremists.
The Muslims have had a terrible time in India. They've had a terrible time. They have been subject of violence in repeated riots all over the country.
Minority faith groups in India are concerned that the government here may be taking too passive a role when it comes to outbreaks of religious violence, and they believe that passivity may lead to an escalation of the violence. Most of Midday's reporters are Hindu who want to report on this issue fairly. John Dayal points out that the majority of India's Hindu population is put off by the religious violence and call the Hindu fundamentalists a fringe element. Experts on India's political life echo similar beliefs.
Don't forget at the number of Hindus who objected to it. It's murder, it's wrong. And it's wrong regardless of whether it's Hindu, Christian, Sikh or anything else.
But John Dayal also says that Christians and other minorities are watching anxiously because this Hindu fringe element numbers in the millions and could take the country in a dangerous direction.
This lunatic fringe is like poison. It has the ability to poison even large masses. That is its main danger. And Graham Stuart Staines and his son Timothy and his son Philip, their death comes not in isolation. Their death comes, that gruesome murder by burning comes at the pyramid of violence, a pyramid of hate which has been created over years.
Although Graham Staines' wife has publicly forgiven the murder of her husband and sons and continues as a missionary in India, John Dayal and his human rights group are pressing the government to make a full report on those behind the murders and continue to monitor India's volatile Hindu fundamentalists. In New Delhi for News Odyssey, I'm Bill Turpie.